Yes, Mr. Srivathsan.
Just a second, now. 1 second. There you go.
Yes.
Hello.
So, welcome everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of Cinelogy, the webinar, the webcast. Today we have with us Mr. Srivathsan Selvarajan, and also joining us from New York will be Zaviar, along with Vivian, from yesterday. We have 11 participants with us. I think we are getting some problem because people are still messaging me about them not being able to open the link. So let's.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Let's hope for the best. I don't know. I think every one of us has already joined.
Got it. Or probably are they trying to ping on the previous link? Yesterday's link? I don't know.
I don't know. You know what I did? I did send everyone.
हेलो
Hello.
हाँ भाई किसकी बढ़िया सब
हाँ, बढ़िया. So I think that's my brother. He has changed his name. So
Right.
let me finally look for who is not able to join and make sure they join first.
Baji, why are you muting me, man?
You cannot keep your mic unmute for the whole time. Sorry.
भाई यार ऐसा मत करो आपके सारे पत्ते खोल दूंगा यहाँ पे
I can kick him out actually if I want to.
अरे नहीं 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 चलो मैं अच्छा बच्चा बन के बैठूंगा ओके ओके I'll be a good boy चलो पाजी आप करो यार लाइव अच्छा कर रहे हो गुड गुड माय ब्लेसिंग्स बेटा यू आर डूइंग अ वेरी गुड जॉब माय ऑल माय आर विद यू बेटा बेटा यू आर बेटा आप बहुत ऊपर जाओगे बेटा
ऊपर.
You're doing a fantastic job बेटे बहुत ऊपर जाओगे बेटे
Okay. Okay. So Shri.
Yes, Nav. Go ahead.
All
Shoot.
right, we have Piyush Thakur joining us.
Mhm.
So today we'll be talking about pre-production with Srivathsan Selvarajan. Hello to Piyush joining in from New York. Bro, we cannot
Hi,
hear you.
Piyush.
Unmute your mic.
I'm on mute. What's up? How are you?
Yes. We are good. We are good. How are you?
Doing good, bro. Just finished my meeting. What's up with you guys?
We are doing good.
Nothing
too.
much. Logged in here, Mr.
Lockdown.
Piyush.
Same. We are all in the same boat.
Yeah.
Piyush, was it easy to open the Zoom meeting with the link?
No, it gave me a redirecting link. Then I clicked on another link. Then I reached here.
Okay. But
Yeah.
the Google invite showed you the meeting ID and password, right?
Yeah. It showed me the password and the meeting ID.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with today's
Okay.
topic. That is pre-production. And I think Piyush is joining us at the very right moment. We are doing a group discussion.
Okay.
Sri was supposed to be one of the guests, one of the main masters of today, but we'll be having a group discussion. Yeah, he is a master, definitely.
Yeah.
So we'll be touching base on what pre-production actually is, how important it is, what are the
From a cinematographer's point of view, Piyush.
from a
Yep.
cinematographer's point of view, but also because we'll be having some photographers joining us too. I don't know why
Yeah.
people are not joining us because we had approximately 30 people last night, and I don't know.
Okay. Yep.
there might be a problem with the link, or they might not be able to figure out how to
Yep,
open it.
it gave me a redirecting link on the website, so I have to click on that link again. Then I reached out to Zoom.
I think that's how it works. It opens a page in your web browser and something like that.
Yep, it does. But that page opens in the Zoom web browser. Then you directly go to that link. But when I was opening your link, which you gave me, it gave me another link in which I have to go and redirect to Zoom.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Okay. Chalo, anyways, if if anyone has some problem with joining in, I'll text them directly. Yeah, they'll reach out very soon, and they are reaching out actually. So we'll be also talking about how the process actually starts, how a producer thinks about making a movie, investing his or her own money or somebody else's money. I don't know where the money comes from, but investing that money into a story that is like-minded to him. He sees a profit. He or she sees a profit in it, and then how the producer actually goes out to find a story or find a script writer to actually enhance it. What is the process after that? Going for a director, somebody, and the director more on goes for finding a crew. So we'll be discussing about that. Then what happens in terms of actually going out and finding locations, doing meetings. I think Piyush has done a meeting this morning, so he'll be one of the best ones to actually talk about that. Rohan Khanna is also joining us. Rohan Khanna
is connecting through audio at the moment.
He'll be connecting to audio. Hello, Rohan. How are you? So the discussion is open. Make sure you keep your mics muted. If you are doing this on a laptop, the best way to speak in between is to just hold the space bar and then speak. Okay. Even I'll be keeping my mic on mute. So if I want to speak I'll just hold my space bar and I can start speaking at the very moment. So we don't disturb each other and all. Okay. So rules for today pretty same. I won't be sharing that screen again. I've already done. But you guys will be also having your individual sessions where Piyush will be actually talking about production, and Sri will be talking about the art of cinematography back, and also talking about what is the role of a DOP and what a DOP does in a movie. A detailed class about that, how he controls the crew and all that. So let's start from the very top. Piyush,
okay, so I think I'm sorry, Nav. You already have a question. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I'll start with Piyush from the very top. Piyush,
okay.
who is a producer, and how he or she decides to make a movie? Where does the money and all that come? Where does the idea of making a movie come from? We'll mute our mics till
Rohan is there.
Piyush speaks. Yeah, Rohan is here. Hello, Rohan. If you want to speak in between, like when Piyush is discussing, you want to add in one more point that can be beneficial for the for the conversation, you can unmute, speak, and then mute back again. So I'll be muting my mic.
So what I thought this session would be, we're talking from cinematographer's point of view or a producer's point of view at the moment.
I think you would probably talk from a producer's point of view, and then I will chip in and then talk about from a cinematographer's point of view.
Yeah, and then Rohan can chip in and talk from a director's point of view. If there are two cases, Rohan. If you are actually spending the money of the producer, first point. Secondly, if you yourself are the producer and the director, what happens then? That will be interesting.
Oh yeah, that's true, because usually most of the time the films I have produced, I haven't invested that much. I mean, usually what I do is, so producers get 2 to 3 options. If it's your story, you're the director and you want to produce it, you will invest a lot of money in your film. But if like how I am working in US right now is, as a producer, directors reach out to me and writers reach out to me. And then we go to the story, producer and director meets the first people, and the writers, 3 people meets on board. Then we get on board an executive producer. So to find an executive producer is one hell of a task, because money, in the end, everything depends upon the money. So for executive producers, the first thing comes is word of mouth. If you have renowned people in the industry who are willing to invest money, In that cases, we have been lucky. We found some executive producers. And like, for example, your film budget is 20 grand, $20,000. Executive producer is willing to give 10,000 grand. So rest 10,000 is still on the verge. So to give that money, people raise funds. So Indiegogo campaign, people raise funds. But usually 80% of the people fail getting those funds because, for example, any layman wants to shoot a film. For example, I'm a director and a producer. I want to shoot a film, but I'm not that much renowned. So why would a third person invest his money onto me? Because I'm not that renowned in the industry. I don't have any awards. So why would he come up to me and give me 10 grand? It's a risk life taking for him. So what we do is basically, if we want to raise that money, we need good people into our film, like a renowned cinematographer comes into on board, a renowned director comes on board who have already achieved awards and make good films. And then important thing is good cast. If I will give you a short example of a film series which I did, and we won Emmy awards for it last year. So the DP was good. He shot Lion King as well. He was into that, and he was in Quiet Place 1. He was the first AC. He was there, so we raised few money on his name, but the cast was really big. All the people were already renowned actors in Hollywood since 20 years. They had won Emmy awards, not Oscars level, but they have been nominated. So we pitched on their face. So we made a face of our film. For example, Leonardo DiCaprio is into my film. So why wouldn't anybody come and invest money in that film? So we take a face of an individual as a cinematographer or a director or any cast. So from that basis, we start raising our funds. Because usually, honestly, I would say nobody invests 100% in the film unless until it's your own film as a director, as a producer. So usually you go and raise funds for the film. Okay, are you sharing a screen now? Okay, I can't hear you.
Yep. Sorry, I'll be noting down whatever you speak and make
okay.
Yeah, so it's easy for anyone else to just follow along.
Makes sense. So from that perspective, so what I would say is from a cinematographer's point of view, if I am making a film, and usually even producers get 2 to 3 options, right? If you want to work as only a producer on the film and you start in a pre-production, so they give you 2 options. Do you want to work on daily wages, like per day rate? They give you like $500, $600. That's one thing option they give. Plus producers also get paid for pre-production. So while you're breaking down the whole script, while you're making the budget, you get charged for that. Another third option, what I would say is, what I personally prefer is deferred payment. So I don't charge them for my pre-production. I never charge them for pre-production, but on set, I don't take any money on set as well. I only take allowance for a day, like $200 a day for a week. That's it. That's what I do. But if you do a deferred payment and you take that share of that whole film, so rather than taking $5,000 for a week, if you get investment into the stakes of the film, like you don't invest the money, but as a producer, you take a deferred payment and you take around 10 to 15% of the money we will raise. On that perspective, that is, if from producer point of view, you want to raise money and you want to, earn money from a film, I would prefer go for deferred payments because everybody have their own mindset. That's what I prefer. Since last 3 films, we raised money and I set up my payment 20%. I didn't charge anything for pre-production either on set. I took 20% from them and we raised around 30 grand. From that 30 grand, 20% for director's fees. That's how most of the people are initially working in the industry at the moment, unless until it's your money. And now I would like to hear from cinematographer point of view, because I'm shot few films, but not detailing into it because I'm not professional in cinematography. But as a director, as a producer, I would like to ask Sri that when a director is done with the script, he write down his script and I send it to you. So how do you guys visualize that? Because I've seen few cinematographers, maybe I haven't seen the pre-production. And while I'm seeing them on set I go in as an AD as well. I go and ask them, okay, this is the shot, next shot we're doing. And they just see the shot and the shot list and they just start setting up the whole thing. Not some questions which come into my mind is neither reading the whole, have they read the whole script accordingly, because they set up the whole scene and it's perfectly fine. So on that perspective, what I would like to ask is, you see the shot on set and you set up the lighting. So do you guys go into all detailing of the script, like reading each scene one by one and then setting up a short list for each scene? And then on set, because you don't read the script on set, we always do. You guys don't read. So it might be more difficult for you guys to only have a look at the call sheet and then accordingly decide the shot? How do you guys go into that scenario then?
I think Shri will answer that, but before that, uh, Piyush, you are jumping to the day of the shoot, like visualizing.
Yep.
The cinematographer does his homework and then comes to the set,
Mm-hmm.
visualizing everything, right? But
Okay.
even before that, like, how will a cinematographer be engaged with the director,
Mm-hmm.
right? How he or she will actually look for interest in like the story, how
Okay.
how he will decide that this is my interest, ये मेरे type की picture है ऐसा,
Mm-hmm.
so
So, yep.
Shri will actually speak on. I would love Shri to speak on.
Yep. I'll go on.
Yeah, I'll just come in here. Yeah. So hi guys. Thanks, Piyush. I think that was really a good brief from a producers and directors point of view. So see, okay, with respect to cinematography, okay, suppose someone ropes you and you're the cinematographer. The fundamental thing, the first thing which you would ask is, of course, the script. You get the script, you read the script, and you see whether you like it or not. If you like it, you accept and then move on. Okay. So that's the first step, first understanding the script, whether you are into it or not into it. See, if at all you're not into the script, there is no point in doing the project. Certain people do it for money, certain people do it for passion. I think doing it for passion would eventually end up visually good and satisfying you as well. So the first fundamental step for a cinematographer is to read the script top to bottom, and then goes to the next stage and talk to the director, understand what he or she wants. Uh, there might be so many interpretations of the script. You might probably understand the script in a different way. The director might probably interpret it in a different way. So sit with the director, go for a coffee, have a chat, and understand what exactly he or she needs. So that's process number 2 for a cinematographer. And then comes your references. Okay, so while you are at it, what you do is you need to probably understand what kind of visuals do they want. A movie can be made in several ways. We would probably go into that in depth in future while we talk about the visual storytelling of the craft. But basically you need to understand what exactly the director wants. How does it want to look? Does it want to look like a 1917 style, or does it want to look like a Godfather style? What exactly is the genre? What do they want?
Giving visual clues, having some inspirations.
Absolutely. So that in a way seals your vision. Okay, so this is what the director wants. This is what he or she wants. So this would give the cinematographer enough leverage to go about his or her own craft. So then what you do is you give the references. So you interpret the script. You have an understanding. You have got the references from the director. You need to give your own references and then see where it matches. See, at the end of the day, cinematographer's role is also to produce your kind of a vision, right? So this is how I used to work. So I also give my own, references, and we both sit together and see a point where, okay, this is where it matches. Can we just go with that flow? So you log the references. References are pretty important, and then you log the references. And then comes your location scouting, etc., etc. And very important point to be noted during this location scouting and things is you need to also have the production designer with you. See, for a cinematographer to really excel well, uh, I would say 60 to 70% is actually helped by the production designer. I'm sure fellow cinematographers here would agree with me. Vivian and Nav, I'm sure you guys would agree. Production design is the most important thing. Okay, what kind of artifacts you have, what kind of color palette you need to go ahead. So then comes, this kind of a step. So you need to sit with the production designer while you are doing the scouting process to understand, okay, we are doing a period piece. Okay, what are the essential artifacts which is required in a period piece? Of course, that job would be done by the production designer, but you would also help in order to understand the color palette, and you guys would, try to mingle, with them. So that is the next process. Okay, then comes your how would you say, location, and director would probably has to give a green signal as well. But from your end, you need to understand where would you light. Are there enough windows? Are there enough places for you to the electrical supply? You need to check whether you have enough power, you have enough amps, because in US and India the supply is pretty different. You need to see whether, if at all you're using heavy lights, you need to understand whether it can handle, right? So these are the things which you are supposed to do on a location scout. Okay, and then make sure that you have all the apps with you, like Helios and Sunseekers of the world, where you go there and understand how the sun reacts. Suppose if you have exterior shots there, and probably even if you have a bigger window, and if probably you would know that the sun is going to come there, you have to know, right? I mean, in the middle of the day, imagine if you're doing a shoot and the sun peeps in, and then the entire shoot is gone, right? So you need to understand.
Also, weather in general, Sri, weather in general is a big
exactly,
point.
exactly.
Is a big point in pre-production.
True. It's a very big point in pre-production, and half of the times the cinematographer prays to God that it shouldn't rain. So the cloud cover is really good, but yeah, it all depends on nature's wrath. So we don't have much.
And it becomes a mess it becomes a mess when you have to shoot a rainy scene in the middle of the day, and there is scorching sun from the top.
Absolutely right, and
it cannot be
so you need to
fixed in post. It cannot be fixed in post.
Be fixed in post, and it's going to blow out, and then you need to position your actors in a different way. So there's several factors into it. So that's the reason the location scout is so very important. You need to go there with a camera, or probably with your mobile camera, click images, understand how things go, and you need to sit with the director and then go, and just spend time there, basically. And then comes your color palettes. I think we spoke about that. Okay, and then this is the things which you do with the director, right? So it's part of a process which you do with the director. Okay, and then comes yourself and your team. What you do next is you identify a team, you get a team. Okay,
Sri. That point we'll come to the next one. Now let's talk to the director and then jump back to what happens on set.
Got it.
Right before we actually start to shoot. I would love Rohan to actually chip in and tell us about how a director has his, I'll say, relationship with the producer, and what he does or what she does in a pre-production environment.
Hi, guys, lovely hearing all of you all after a very long time, first of all, and whatever you're speaking, it's just turning out to be great. From a director's point of view, I think most of what everybody has said is correct, and there is no one way of making a film. There is never one way of making a film. Everybody has a different process to it. Every production house has a different process to it. DPs have a different look to it, and everything is different. It's a coexisting environment, but not in a democracy. And there's a hierarchy in the filmmaking where it goes. Your director is, so when you're talking about a producer is more of a person into logistics. He's going to take care of the logistics, how to make things happen, how to bring everybody together, take care of their payments, salaries, food, healthcare, etc., whatever. A cinematographer falls into a creative and a technician. He is a creative and a technician. He is a person who's going to take care of all the technicalities related to how to make it appear on the screen, but also keeping a creative aspect to it. And again, I think it's a production designer, a producer, a director, and a cinematographer. All of them work together, come together, and also the costume designers as well. But these are the 4 people who I'm going to target main on, because that's probably a way that I prefer how to, think about my films. I wouldn't care about my costumes in the beginning initially, but that's again something about my process. I would care about my producer. My producer has to be my best friend on the set, because I need my producer, my first AD, my chief assistant director, and my cinematographer and the production designer. These are the people who I'm going to be in most contact with, rather than, and like, compared to anybody else on the set. um, I mean, for example, I can't say, suppose I'm thinking of shooting a sequence in Switzerland, and I need a crane, I need a shot and everything, and I'm discussing all of that with my DP. My DP is also ambitious. He's like, wow, sounds like a plan. We're making a Yashraj film. Yellow sari aa raha hai. Lekin producer ko jaake bol raha, producer's gonna be like, but where are you getting the budget from to do this? Like, we
True
can't
that.
we can't go over ambitious with a lot of things. So it's a coexisting situation where everybody has to come together, and everybody has to think about how to make it happen, and obviously keeping everything in respect to the director's vision to it, because till the time, if your director's not happy with something, he's going to make everybody's life mess. He's going to confuse you even more, and everybody there is trying to make something what is in the director's head, you know and another thing that which actually we do get really confused with indie filmmaking is that we don't really consider the team as much. So it's not just a producer, a director, a cinematographer. There's a direction team, there's a producing team, there's a cinematography team, and all of them do come together to make something like what Shri was talking about, getting references to a lot of things. So getting references is something that a direction team would do, considering the director's vision in mind. The AD team will bring out everything, bring out references. The cinematographer's assistant will bring out references. The head cinematographer will say that, hey buddy, this is what I want to do, this is what is in my mind. He might do his own homework. The assistant is supposed to do even more. They are the people who are going to bring everything together, compile everything together. Then they're going to shortlist whether what goes well, what does not go well. Something that is in the DP's mind is clashing with the production designer. So it's just basically a lot of creatives coming in together. But again, here comes the hierarchy about whose call is it, and it is the director's call at the end of the day. It's the director who's going to choose that this is what I want, this is what is in my head. He it and filmmaking is something that I've noticed. A lot of people take it to their egos and come down to, yeah, this is not how I want, this is not how I want it to be. But I think that's the best part. Creative differences actually make to something really good. And
Exactly. There are 100 people working on big sets. The
yeah, and
brain of what you see on screen is just not just the DP. I mean, we call it ki it's just the DP's vision and the director's vision, but it's the vision of those 100 and 150 people that
correct.
we are seeing on screen. Even for biggest of the biggest movie or the smallest of the smallest movie.
Definitely, there are a bunch of skilled people coming together, and they're making cinema as a magic. Like cinema is magic. Not like we have seen bad films, we see good films, but every film is a film at the end of the day. Every film is an effort. Every film is a bunch of people coming together trying to make something, and and yeah, I mean, I look at it like that a lot. So I think I spoke to Nav, and we're doing a seminar on Thursday where I'm going to speak about it more in detail, and where I'm going to come, get everything in detail about, based on my experience of working since I've been working in Bombay for a while now. I finished a film with Netflix, and I was working on another project right now, but because of COVID, we stopped and it did not happen. Uh,
Yeah,
but
we'll be definitely talking about
yeah,
direction with Rohan on Thursday. So we have Jenna Baraho tomorrow joining us, and then on Thursday we'll have Rohan Khanna back. And I don't remember the schedule. We have scheduled everyone till the next Tuesday, I guess. So so next, I would love. I see we have Shaunak also joining us. As he's working as a fashion photographer right now, I would love to hear from him if he can turn his mic on and talk about how pre-production is important for a photography shoot. Because he was supposed to be a director. He has learned cinematography from New York Film Academy in the LA campus, but right now he recognizes himself as a fashion photographer. So if he can unmute his mic and tell us about how pre-production uh, is important in a photography shoot. Shaunak? I think he left the meeting for some reason, or he got disconnected because uh, he just woke up right now. So, anyways, I would love to have a comment from Vivian about this. Vivian was also speaking yesterday, and also after Vivian, I would love Zavi to chip in about this. Zavi is also joining us from New York. He's not showing his video. He's a little shy. He just woke up, I guess. But Vivian, I would
there's,
love to hear from you.
there's one thing.
Yeah, Rohan first, then Vivian.
Yeah. I just actually want to jump to one thing. Ujwal had a question in the chat. Can you mention the steps before pre-production in a sequential order? And I think Piyush will be the right person to answer this. Piyush, I think you can just step in, like, after Vivian or before Vivian, however it works.
Yeah, let's make points.
You can just
Piyush,
talk
as
about
you say,
pitching, how pitching works, and how a project gets greenlit.
yeah,
and
let's start from the very, very top.
yeah.
Yeah. So Ujjwal question is, can you mention the steps before pre-production in sequential order? So before the pre-production is a writer's dream, which we have to make it come to life. So can you hear me right? So a writer is the one who writes the script. That's his dream. And then he reaches out to a director, right? Then the writer and the director vision needs to match, because we should realize one thing. It's a writer's dream, which we are making. Even sometimes the director is a writer, sometimes the producer is a writer, sometimes they both work together. So it's a director's dream which we have to make it to vision. So first director goes and the writer goes and meet the director. They meet up, they have to be on the same page. Like sometimes the director have a different vision of his film and the director thinks from a different perspective. So that one connection, being a best friend, like Rohan mentioned, that needs to be there, a writer and the director, because that's director's vision as well. Then we reach out to a producer. So for example, take an example, if the person have no money to make a film, like we have seen one of the greatest example in the history as well, we don't have any money to make a film. So what we do is, rather than doing crowdfunding, we reach up and pitch our film to many producers and directors in the industry, right? So if you don't have money to do crowdfunding, if you don't have money to make a film, go for pitching sessions. So there's a thing called elevator pitch, which you need to do in 1 minute. For example, there's a film, you have the whole film in your mind. How will you pitch it to a producer or an executive producer? So the people who invest money in your film are executive producers, because there's a misconception in our Bollywood industry. I've worked in Bollywood and Hollywood as well. So when you say a producer is not always the one who's investing money in the film. The executive producer is the term which we use, who gets all the money into that film. So to reach out to that executive producers, even the directors and the writers and the producer, when they three meet, we have to go and pitch our film story to them. Like, for example, you can't do that Christopher Nolan reaching out to a director who make love stories. Obviously, he won't invest in his films. So we have to see what kind of direction we have with the writer, what kind of script he has made. Accordingly, you reach out to the executive producers in the industry. And there's a saying in our term that the best people who would invest money in a film are from your families. They are the first one executive producer who help you along with it. So for that, you need an elevator pitch. That's definitely which we need, and you need to practice along on that. So once you have an elevator pitch on you, we guys can reach out to more producers, more executive producers, even more directors, because word of mouth really works in our industry. So, for example, if I know 10 people who are the producers, and if somebody comes up to me, I can let them meet their people. So you need an elevator pitch, first of all, rather than fundraising as well. So when you go into elevator pitching, you meet few directors, you reach out to the people, just shoot them an email if they're not in contact with you, reach out to the assistant and try to set up a meeting, or else go and attend award functions, any screening of a film where many directors and producers are there. Go and take an initiative. Don't be shy on that part, because what I've seen is, even I was a shy person initially. You have to be blunt, because it's your dream. You have to make that film. Go to award functions, go to screening. If you see a producer you like, reach up to him, give your small cards and pitch your film to him, so that he can be interested in that 1 minute. So that's another way of getting your funds for the film and getting people interested in the film so that they invest in it. And then later on, we come, like Sri and Rohan was saying, our production teams come, like DP comes on board, director, producer, production designer. And one thing I would also mention that a sound guy is also very important in pre-production as well, because sound is very, very important thing, even a gaffer, because these 3 to 4 department when going on location scouting also, sound guy needs to be definitely there. That's in my opinion. And yes, Ron, thank you for the VFX also. For example, if you take Blade Runner kind of film, that's all VFX with DP. So if a Blade Runner kind of film is there, you can jump on board with VFX on board, because then the cinematographer and VFX person have to work together, because it's not a real film, it's a fiction reality film. So that's one thing which we need to take care of. And going to location scouting, I would add AD always needs to be there on location scout with the director. Sound guy, definitely he needs, because sound is very important in our field, because sound fucks up very big films in the industry as well, and the gaffer. So that's a point what I would like to raise, which Sri and Rohan also said. To addition, we need a sound guy in it. Yes, Rohan.
One question: when you're hiring everybody for location scouting and recce's, are you paying the people, or how does that work? Because if the
So
sound guy is generally more busy with other projects, they do simultaneously 4 or 5 projects at a time, and if he has to leave that commitment and come to your recce, are you paying him on that day, or how does it
Yeah,
work?
great point raised up by Rohan.
Yeah.
Piyush.
Yep. So usually, as you said, filmmaking is, every part of film is a different how we make a film. Sometimes I will talk about, let me go for a low budget film. A low budget film don't have pre-production money most of the time. If you take a student film, a low budget. So initially we take a reference for them that if you can come for a 1 day for location scouting, it's like asking for a favor. People do that initially. Like if I'm shooting a film and Sri is my DP, he would come for me for fee to asking as a favor. But if I don't know him, then he might reach up to me, dude, I charge $200 a day for my location scouting and pre-production. If you have the money, then pay him. If you don't have the money, even for the sound guy, you see, what AD people do that time, if a sound guy is not available during a location scout, what people usually do is they go on set and they record the simple thing. They record from their iPhone. Just record the audio, ambient sound from your phone, and then we send it to the sound guy so that they have an idea about it. That's another way of doing it. The sound guy is not available. Okay.
All right. I think that actually summed up pretty much the major part of pre-production. That is actually reaching out to maximum number of people uh,
Okay.
pitching them. Sorry, yeah, Piyush.
Yeah, I have another question on from cinematographer point of view for from both of you. That
Yeah.
so I've dealt with many DPs as well. I mean, we have worked and other DPs as well. So does it really depend upon the budget? For you have the script, Sri, you've done the color palette, you have done the shot design, you've done everything. So when it comes on shooting, so I know that DP wants to shoot on the best camera in the world. They need Reflex, they need Red Dragon. So how do you visualize that? Do you visualize that, okay, I'm making the short list and I would use particular camera into these shots or into the sequence? So is that one process? I would like to know about that.
Okay. Uh, Great question. So, see, let's be honest. Every DP wants his or her visual to stand out, right? The reason why DPs tend to push for bigger cameras is, again, it's not selfish. It is also, it's your movie at the end of the day. Your movie's visuals are gonna stand out. Okay. Having said that, we have done quite a lot of projects. I mean, say, to say Nav, Vivian, and myself, we have done so many projects with the smallest of smallest gears. See, at the end of the day, camera is just a tool, right? It is who the vision is important. What you're trying to say is important. But on a certain level, see, let's not talk about student films here. But when you come to the life beyond student films, of course you cannot go for a lesser gear. But having said that, Tangerine was made on an iPhone 6s, right? So see, at the end of the day, it's about the skill, right? It's about the craft, and it's about the confidence the DP has. See, if a DP thinks he or she can probably nail it with a smaller gear, with a lesser lighting package, then I think you need to probably trust the DP. See, that's the reason the director and cinematographer is more like a marriage, right? The DP and the director needs to have 100% trust on each other. Okay, they need to they need to really appreciate the judgment the DP is trying to make. Okay, so they probably on the set or probably during the shooting time, one should not question, So I have a feeling if you have the trust and if the DP says that let's probably go and shoot with an Canon 5D, Mark IV, trust the judgment of the DP and just go ahead. Okay, so this probably would give you an idea if I had probably answered your question, Piyush.
Thank you so much, Sri.
I would like
Really,
to add something to that, something to this question. Like Shri said, it's more about a concept. It's more about a judgment that you want to do. Something like a Tangerine being shot on iPhone 6. It was a concept in somebody's mind which got greenlit. It was, everybody has been shooting something. You're talking about gear. You can ask for an Arri, whatever camera. You can also ask for Alexas. You can ask for anamorphics, and of course you can do everything, and a lot of people are doing that. But it's when, like he said, a DP wants to stand out with their craft, where when it's a platform for them to project that we are capable of doing something which is different, and we can do it from any equipment that we want. And I'm sure there are people who like Shri has a different perspective, where equipment doesn't matter a lot to him. Like, it is not the only key thing for him. But there are people who want the equipment, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. It's again a style of work. It's about how they want to work with it. But again, it's more about concept. It's more about doing something different and standing out and doing something which has not happened till now, and creating your own style.
We have a question from JJ in the chat. Before that, I would love to hear from Vivian if he's listening. If he can unmute his mic and give a cinematographer's perspective on how pre-production works.
Yeah, hi. I think, like Shri said, it's about. I feel like everything is important. Whatever you all said, everything is important. But eventually, the first step after you like the script, I think the second thing also it's important is you feel it and you have like a connection with all the people you're going to work, because eventually, even if you get the budget, you have everything, and while on set, if things don't work out with you and the director or like the crew, it's all going to go in vain. So I think that also like plays an important role in the pre-production, is like to have a good connection with all the people you're going to work, because you don't want like people fighting on sets and like having that bad atmosphere. It just ruins everything.
Exactly. I mean, a good pre-production leads to a good production, and then leads to a good post-production, and then leads to a good movie. So we'll take this question from JJ. Dude, if you can mention your full name, it would be very, very helpful. But anyways, how do you find writers to collaborate with? Usually it's said in the beginning to direct your vision with your own story. But what if you want to find writers for shorts? He's, I think, talking about short movies where the, Jabar Jung Singh. He's the one. So, yeah, I think Rohan can answer this, or anybody who wants to chip in can also chip in.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting question. How do you find writers to collaborate with? And there's no answer to it. There's absolutely no answer to it. How to find writers to collaborate with? If you have an equation with somebody, if you have a vision with somebody, it's a very difficult situation. There's no place that where you can go, hey, I'm looking for a writer and I want to collaborate with this person. You can do that, but it doesn't work every time, because sometimes when there are creative differences, it just goes crazy. So a few people are lucky to find those people. A few people eventually never find those people. But when you're coming in a place like there's something called as pitching to production houses rather than just pitching to producers. So if I am coming here, I have a short film ready, I have a script ready, where the structure of it is very nice, but the dialogues don't make any sense. The dialogues are not doing justice to the story, and they're not helping it. Now, in this situation, I contact a production house. I go and I try pitching it to the production house. The first person who I'll be in contact with is the creative head of the production house. So every production house has a creative head where they analyze the scripts, they find out errors, and they tell you whether it's good, it works for them, it doesn't work for them. If your script is great, you will contact the creative head. The creative head might, just connect you with a writer. Ki, hey, listen, I'm giving you a writer who knows how to write. You have an idea, you have a head. Now go talk to this person and make it happen. But again, sometimes when you just can't do it, when you just can't write well and you're not understanding, make a short film. Make a short film, show it to them. See, this is my direction style and this is my story. This was the script of this short film and it came out like this. I might not be a good writer, but I'm a person with a vision. And I know I have a directing style. I know how to direct my actors. I know how to talk to my actors. I know how to say a story. And this is my pitch and this is my scratched out draft. So let me know how you think about it. If you think it's great, can you please help me with a writer? And that's how you connect, and that's how you find professional writers. And yeah, Piyush, you want to say something?
Yeah, to addition, Rohan, great point. What I would say, there's another term which, so if I'm not a great writer, I reach out to creative head and show them the script, and they said you need to make some changes. So there's a term which is a funny term called script doctor, which people use. Script doctor, make a dialogue. There are different dialogue writers. There are only people who only write dialogues. Like we have Javed Akhtar, all these people. So they only write dialogues for the film. So all of the people also collaborate with writers. Like a script doctor comes onto your board and gives a different vision to your story. A dialogue writer makes the film dialogues really great. Like we have seen many films in which the dialogue stands out and we still remember till now. So script doctor and dialogue writer makes the film. And when Rohan said, like, if a person is not a good writer, he's a good director, he shows that. So there's another term, small term for that, is called we make a pilot. That's a small thing. Rather than, I have a short film, I have a feature. The creative head wants to see your vision. Then let's make a pilot. And that's how, again, we pitch it to the creative head. And then we reach out to people who make your dream into a vision.
Exactly, Piyush. I would love to yeah, Rohan, go ahead.
Adding something to it, narrating plays a very big role to it. Sometimes on paper, it might just read out as like I'll just go to a reference of a Hindi film movie, Ek Tarfa Pyar Ki Taakat, Tum Kya Jano. When it was just Ek Tarfa Pyar Ki Taakat, Tum Kya Jano, which is just a normal line in Urdu, but the way it is pitched, the way it is narrated, at the end of the day, it's all about how you sell yourself, how you sell your product, it's all about marketing. You be a producer, cinematographer, director, writer, art director, no matter what you are, at the end of the day, it's about how you sell yourself, because we're all personal and private business entities. It's a business at the end of the day. No matter what you want to do, you don't just want to make it for the craft, you want to make it for the money also. Because till the time you don't make money, you don't have resources to make the next one. And you sell yourself good, you be confident in your selling, you have a style of saying it. Again, going back to actors in the early Bollywood, where we had people like Devanand, Rajesh Khanna, and all of these people. These people came with a style. They came with something to themselves, which was not just acting, which was how they started pitching themselves, which is how they became the greatest celebrities of our industry today. They were selling on style. They were not selling on craft. So, and people bought that style. So it's at the end of the day, it's all about that.
Absolutely. If you guys don't know, JJ, I'm sorry, but this is Jabar Jung Singh. And he's also going to be hosting a session with us very soon. He's a leading photographer. He's a leading wedding photographer and a cinematographer based in New York. So, and I did a short movie with him in his house. It turned out to be amazing. As we were talking, working on smaller cameras is actually a bigger challenge than working on bigger cameras. So we actually achieved that. Jabar Jung Paji, if you want to chip in with your thoughts on this, you can unmute your mic and chip in if you want to. We would love to hear from you.
Hey guys, how's it going? So we are talking about I'm sorry, can you repeat what was the question that you want me to talk on?
Your take on pre-production. How important is it to let's jump now from the producers and the directors relation, and let's not jump to when we are actually talking with the actors. How important is it to actually get good actors? How important is it to direct them and have reruns of the script itself? How important is that?
Yeah, so Navneet mentioned the short film we did. It was about 13, 14 minutes. And we had, I think we had about 4 or 5 rehearsal sessions because it's a personal thing that I really want on the day of, because I know, since it's a very small budget, it's a self-funded project. uh, Crew is small. People who are there. They're just helping out, and I value everyone's time. So before we actually go on the shoot, I want everyone to be, especially the actors, because they're the ones who are going to be performing on that day. So I want them ready. I don't want them forgetting lines. I don't want them just messing up. So I think if one big important thing is if we're helping each other out, it's our duty to have that process ready and save time. And when we actually shoot, want everything, no matter what, something is going to go wrong, and we want to save that time for that something that's going to go wrong. So I think that's very important to like prepare your actors and yourself, and just so everyone's on the same page before we actually start the shoot. So giving example for that film is called Apna. We did about 3 to 4 sessions of rehearsals with the actors. Even though it was just 2 of them, we went back and forth again and again. And so on the day of, I was actually focusing on not my actors, but I was focusing on the other parts of the, because it's a small budget film, small crew. So I was confident enough in the actors on the day of the shoot to actually forget about them, because I know what they're gonna do, and I was focusing more on what I will see in the frame. So that was the process for me on that day, and I agree. Pre-production and preparing is very big, and I actually like to do that.
Thank you so much, Jabar Jung Singh. So I would love to take some comments from Zavi, because we were talking about sound before this. I would love to take some comments from Zavi, because he has been doing tremendous work in terms of audio production and on-set audio recording. He has been with us for a very long time. While we all were in New York Film Academy, he was on various sets too, and I've seen him doing one of the best works in terms of sound recording and audio production. So, Zavi, what is your take on pre-production? How important is it for the sound guy or the sound guy's team to be to actually go to location scouts, discuss with the directors and all that? How important is it?
Hi guys. So sorry, I just woke up here and this was on really short notice, so I'm a little shy. That's why I didn't put my videos on. But it's good to see all of you again. I was listening in on a lot of the things that you were talking about. And I did want to touch up on a few of those things, but I mostly agree with what Rohan said, because as you know, like my background is actually as a writer and director. That's what I studied. But somehow I, after graduating, sort of went more towards sound. It's just I worked on a few sets and people really like what I did, uh, with a background in music also, so that helped a lot. So that's how I got into sound, and it just became my thing. And I worked with all a few people on a few of these sets, and I loved it. And so I was glad, like in the beginning, you guys were talking about like the core team that needs to go for location scouting, and I was thinking like they need to mention sound, and I think Rohan or Piyush mentioned that, and that's a very important thing, that sound, the sound guy needs to be involved in the pre-production process from the moment when you're about to go to a location shoot. That is very important, because like they said, a film can end up looking really good, but if the sound is even just a little bit shit, people will not want to, they will not bear watching that film. Whereas a lot of times visuals might not be too impressive, but they can be forgiven. Sound is unforgivable. If a movie looks amazing, but the sound is distracting you, you will not really pay attention to the movie. So it's very important that when you're going for location scouting, you take your production designers with you, you take your DP with you, you take your producers with you. But also the thing that a lot of young up and coming independent filmmakers get wrong is you need to take your sound guy with you, because you might find a location that looks beautiful. It's very scenic, and you feel like it's spacious enough, and you're thinking about your camera angles and the shots that you want. Maybe you're trying a little mock blocking with each other. But the thing that you don't notice is that this really beautiful location, which is at a warehouse or a building, there is a bus stop outside, and there is every 15 minutes, there's a loud bus going. Or you need to check it once in the day and once in the night. Maybe at nighttime, there's a generator that goes on in the building next to you, or there's a construction site. These little things that you're not noticing because you're so focused on the visuals. And then the day of shooting comes and everything is set, lights set up, ho gayi hai, everything's ready, actors are ready, blocking, everything is done. And then all of a sudden you start hear a drill going on in the building, even though it's like 2 blocks away, but you're catching it on your mixer. And that can kill the set, kill everyone's motivation. People start getting annoyed. And the problem is, as the sound guy, I've seen this a lot, where you would take probably 3 hours setting up in terms of camera and lighting and everything. And the sound guy's job, it seems like it's just easy because all you have to do is turn on your mixer and then everything's set. However, due to those environmental factors of sound, sometimes when the sound guy is not informed of those things, he has to make adjustments on set. And everybody is ready, but he says, what can I do? But we have to wait for that drilling to finish or that bus to go off. And everybody just ends up looking at the sound guy as if it's his fault. And he's like, well, you guys should have figured this out in pre-production during location scouting, So it's very important to take your sound guy with you for location scouting. And you're supposed to do a thorough sound check at the location. And my advice would be, depending on what time you're supposed to shoot there at, I would say do a daytime check and also a nighttime check, so that you have an idea, and also ask around in the neighborhood if there's any anomalies going on there according to the time. So maybe you went there at, like, let's say 5 o'clock. Ask them if something happens at 9 p.m. if there is something or the other that's happening. So that is really important to do, I would say.
Thank you so much, Zavi. We'll be having another session with Zavi very soon, just on sound. I think there are many people. So there are many people with individual sessions for each topic. So I think we'll have to extend it for more than 14 days, or we can do because this Corona shit isn't going anywhere. So it's just better to communicate with each other like this, because the shoots are dead. Where will we actually think, how and where will we think about cinematography and filmmaking in general? So these sessions like these will continue from my part. Rohan was saying something, and then we'll come back to Piyush.
I'm just adding something to what Zavi said, and that's absolutely correct about, like, everybody just looks at the sound designer when something is going wrong, like as if it's fault. But something from my experience on a set, that I don't think it's just the sound designer, when it's coming to something like that. A lot of actors refuse to play the scene when there's turbulence or something going out over there. And checking on whether sound is going to be there. So I'm just adding on, that's something that a production team does. That is something that a production team takes care of, where they need to check what is happening around them. Kitne baje, like if there's a bus stop, what is going to be the sound? What can be the worst case? The generators making sound. The generators have to be parked far away from the set, so that they don't make sound and it doesn't come in the mixer. And these are a few things that the production needs to take care of. Secondly, Zavi, I had a question for you. What is your take on not recording live sound and dubbing everything? Because a lot of people in the industry do that, where they do not record live sound at all. They do not record live sound at all, and they dub everything. The entire movie is dubbed for 3.5 hours. So what is your take on that? Like, is that something that you prefer, or you prefer live recording?
So, I mean, there's different ways of doing. Both ways can be correct. What I personally prefer, what I say is, always record sound on set. You can make the decision in post if it does not sound good for you. Then sure, you can dub it, but you're not losing anything if you just decide to record on set. I personally prefer getting the sound on set, because if you dub it, it does not feel organic to me. I don't think it feels organic, because you're not just capturing the dialogues of the actors. You're getting the sound of the space. You're getting the environment. Yeah, and there's especially in terms of and this is from a director's perspective, but in terms of the performance that the actors are giving on set, that cannot perfectly be replicated in post in terms of dubbing. I mean, you might have great actors, and they might try to replicate that, but it's not going to be the same performance that they were giving in the moment. And as an actor, you don't want to just go back and try to replicate something you did on set, because you're in the moment at that time and you're giving your best performance. So it's always good to try to capture that. Now, and me personally, like I say, like, no, you're supposed to not only just capture the actor's performance, get wild sound, get everything that you can in that space, in that environment. Have all those files ready. Then once you go into post, perhaps you don't like a certain delivery of an actor's line. You might want to dub that. Perhaps there might be many things in post, but all of that you can decide in post. But you're not losing anything if you do record on set.
Okay.
That was good, but Rohan, the
So yeah.
questions
Okay.
about
So
sound will be in his own session. We are still on pre-production as of now.
okay. Right. Okay. Right. All right.
I was about to
If
say that, so I'll back my question for now.
he went, Zavi actually went to post-production.
Yeah.
In
I
as
was somebody like a producer might be dying right now. Zavi saying, "What is there to lose?" The producer is saying, I have to hire a dubbing studio for that. That is there to lose. That is something I'm going to
yeah,
lose. I have to pay
yeah,
you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have to pay you on set. On top of it, I have to record a studio. I have to pay for that. I have to record my talent again. I have to hire my talent again for them to come again, do it again. All of that. That is there to lose.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's the producer's headache. I was
And
just
we
talking
don't
about
have money
the
for
sound.
that. Yep. We don't have money for that all the time. So record sound on set. That's the main agenda for now.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's about time. Before we leave, Shri, any ending comments? We cannot hear you.
I'm
Unmute your
sorry.
mic.
I'm sorry. I was on mute. Yeah.
Okay.
So no, I think yeah. So basically, I think we've covered. Of course, we didn't cover the point where the cinematographer takes from his team, right? I think probably we'll cover that in a different session, maybe.
If you want, you can add in now. We don't have time
No,
limit
see,
on
I
this
think
call.
that has a lot of process. It's about recruiting your team, talking to your team, taking the gaffer onto the set, and then understanding, then shot divisions and lighting plans. That's actually a big thing, right? So probably let's talk about that later.
Also, camera test is a big thing. Camera test is a
Yes,
big thing that is
yes,
avoided
yes,
in short films.
yes.
How
It's
the
avoided in
actor
short
looks in
films,
front
and
of the
yeah,
how the actor
absolutely
appears in front of the camera, how the makeup actually turns out in front of the camera. Is your
right.
camera okay to shoot? The camera you have invested in too much. You're paying rent to fee
Yeah,
for it. Is it actually good for a tiny house or so? But that's
correct.
the camera test I believe in.
Correct. So it again goes back to the previous point which we made now. It's about trusting the cinematographer. Okay. Again, going to the same point, an iPhone 6 cannot make a Blade Runner. An iPhone 6 can make a Tangerine, right? And an RE Alexa with an anamorphic, a large frame cannot make a Tangerine. It is not needed. So ideally, you need to trust the DP for his or own, comment on what is the gear he or she wants, and then just trust. So they know what is the gear needed for that content, right?
Yeah.
So and then probably we'll go in depth regarding the cinematographer's role, with his or own team. We'll take
Sure.
it in the next session. Yeah, it might take
Sure.
a long
I
time.
think
now.
Shri, your session is on Saturday.
I guess so. Yeah,
Was it on Friday or Saturday?
Saturday. I guess Saturday. I
Okay.
guess.
I think
Saturday.
Friday we have. I'll confirm you guys. But
Yeah.
we have Sunday's session. Sunday's session is going to be with Jabar Jung Singh about wedding photography and filmmaking and cinematography, because because personally, to be honest, I started with wedding photography. I earned my first paycheck through, or I
Same
mean,
here.
cash through wedding photography. Same with Sri.
Same here.
Uh,
Yeah.
Piyush has done professional shoots with, he was into photography. If I go down through his
Yep.
Instagram page, he was into fashion photography and I think Rohan, what did you start with?
I started photography, and yeah, my first paycheck was actually product. I started clicking cakes of my neighbor. He baked cakes and she used to sell it, so I started clicking those pictures for her so that
So
she
it
can.
started with photography, and
Yeah.
a big part of filmmaking itself is how you approach photography. That is why we are taught photography in film school. Also, it's a part of the course. It's a
Yep.
part of the syllabus, and every cinematographer starts from photographer. So we'll be having that session on Sunday. And any ending comments from Vivian? We haven't talked to Vivian in a long time. Vivian. I think
We just
Vivian
lost Lucas.
Vivian went
So,
away from his phone. He's just
yep.
listening to
I
us. He
just
went away from his phone.
Okay. I just had one curious question. I know
Yes,
it's a silly
Piyush.
one for cinematographers in pre-production. So, Shri, I was talking about in pre-production, we get the camera and what kind of camera do you need. So
Yeah.
I've worked with many DPs as well. So every
Yeah.
DP have their own equipment, keeping aside the
Correct.
camera, right?
Correct.
So according to the film, how do you guys visualize that? I need a 2K or 4K airy light, or I need these matte boxes. So is there a permanent thing which you always use in a film set, or like every film is different? That is for sure. So
Not really,
every
not
equipment,
really.
right?
But
Sri.
it's a great question. It's a great question, I would say. See, it all boils down to understanding the first thing which I explained. What is this project all about? Okay, what genre is it all about? Is it an high key? Is it a low key, low contrast? Is it an high key, high contrast, or a high key, low contrast? For you, I mean, for people who do not know these terms to understand this, we'll probably take it in the next session. So for you to you to get the references, picture the references, and you log the references, right? When you log the references, you will get an idea of what the director needs, right? So you would probably the DP would have a judgment for to establish that particular shot. What are the required tools and gears which are needed? So with respect to that, the DP formulates a plan. So that's how they come with a gear plan. This is what I want. This is the lens I want. This is the kind of lights I would probably require. So it all again boils down to references. When you lock the references, the DP would know how to make that reference come alive. Okay, to come alive, he or she wants certain kind of technical support, and that's when they make a call. Okay, this is the number of items I would want, and then they give it to the producer. So it's not like it's a one-stop shop or probably a one formula application for all the movies. Every project requires different things, and commercials probably might need a different setup. A documentary might not probably want the same setup as you want for a commercial. A feature film probably want a different setup. Exteriors might not want the same lights as interiors. So let's say 1917, how many lights were used as, except for the fire sequence? There were no lights, right? So
I
Yeah.
was about to mention that. Thank you.
yeah,
Sri,
so
Vivian has joined us. Vivian
yeah,
would like to say something.
yeah.
Oh no, that's a good point that you made.
Yeah.
But also, like, I would like to add to that.
Vivian, can you talk from a gaffer's perspective? How a gaffer sees it with the DP, and make it short.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, like, not everyone knows everything, and after all, it's like a team game. So, like, maybe like, it's not necessary the DP needs to know he needs to know each and every camera and how it works, or he needs to know each and every lights and how it works. That's why a DP has a team of like ACs and gaffers and grips. So sometimes a DP might not know what light might be used for like a particular look he wants, and that's why he has a gaffer to solve that problem. Like, the gaffer might know the light, but he doesn't know how to work that. That's why he's an electrician, like, to figure out how to, like, so like a lot of these things, like, it's after all a team work, and then yeah, like, you all have to work as a team.
Absolutely. I would love to
I
chip in, Piyush, that from a grips perspective, because I've majorly done grips, sorry, a work of a grip in all short movies I've done so far. So, from a grips perspective, as you're talking about, how should I decide? How should I tell my DP that what all equipment I want? Because you know the DP will end up giving a list to the producer to order these items from a rental house or so on, and at the end, like you're actually into the scene, you have everything ready, and then if you want, like, I want an extra track to lay out, I want an extra dolly, I want an extra dolly, or I want I want a 60 feet crane instead of a 40 feet one. I want an extra bounce. So the grips and the gaffers usually pre-prepare for that stuff, and they keep everything extra on their own hand. That is something that producers hate from us, because we ask for 16 different lights if only 10 are being used. So the same way, I'll actually ask for more dolly tracks. In terms of grip, I'm talking about, I'll ask for more extra dolly track if something breaks on set. Uh, I'll say 25% extra C stands. If I'm ordering 10, I'll say 3 or 4 more with me on my hand. Same is for any other stand that is used on set. Anything used for rigging, I'll have extra. The basic, sorry, Rohan wants to join in and Sri wants to join in. I think that this sums up for the grid part.
Yeah. So something like what Nav also mentioned right now. It's whatever requirement is some. So here comes the chief assistant director role. The chief assistant director basically works for the producer and the director. So he knows the creative vision to it, and he has to take care of the logistical vision to it. When the DP is coming and telling that this is my requirement, I need a Jimmy Jib, I need a steady cam, I need a steady cam operator, XYZ, whatever. So here's when the first AD comes into rationalizing, where he's like, and a good first AD will never let the money go away. Like he's like, if a DP comes and say, no, I just want to keep it for safety, the chief AD will say, no, you have these many, I'm only going to hire it for these many days, and you choose what days you want. Because at the end of the day, he's hiring an extra person, he's hiring equipment, he's taking care of a lot of things, and that's money to go. And like you said, like you have to keep extra C stands, we have to keep extra money in our banks. You know, we have to take care of money, which in case of reshoots, we need to keep that money as a reserve, and we can't go over budget with a lot of things. So that is where this comes in hand. And like what I think Vivian also mentioned earlier, yes, there are people specializing in it. A DP does not have to know the camera always. A DP needs to know how to light it. A DP needs to know how to compose the frames. There are camera technicians that come with every like rental equipment that you order. If you order a rental equipment, at least for what I know from both the sets I've been, there are camera technicians that will come who know how to handle that particular camera well. If the camera shuts down, if there's a battery issue, whatever issue, if there's some setting that the DP needs to change, that is the technician's job. That is not the DP's job. A DP just needs to take care of how to make it happen. He's not going to sit and do like an electrician's job, say for that matter. Or he's not going to worry about why is the light bulb not working, or where is the wire loose.
Yeah.
He's not going to worry about that.
Yeah.
So
Rohan actually made a good point that, and Vivian was also talking about that the DP should know all of the work, but he or she should actually have an idea of what happens within his or her own team. There should be a basic idea of what happens in the team. Shri would like to add in, and then I think we'll start to wrap up.
Yeah. So it all basically boils down to that phase 2, which I was talking about, right? So once you get an idea, and then when you form a team, you sit with that team, and that's when Nav's point came, right? When he mentioned that this is the items which I would want for grip, this is the item which I would want for lighting, and this is what I would want with respect to lens, etc., etc. So you sit with all these people. You sit with the ACs, you sit with gaffers, you sit with, as a matter of fact, gaffers at times accompany for the recce as well, depending upon the size of the shoot. So you sit with them, and then you formulate a plan. You discuss short, divisions with them. After you discuss with the director, you sit with your team and then do it. And then that's how it all formulates. So again, it's a very big process. You tend to have lighting plans. You sit with the gaffer and you plan. You have your vision. The gaffer adds on his or her own vision, and then you come with a plan. You zero in on one point, and then you probably send it back to the direction team, right? So that's how it happens. So, and the DP, yeah, as you guys mentioned, the DP doesn't necessarily need to know everything, but at the end of the day, he or she is the head of the department. So at the end of the day, it boils down, to that. So you need to know what is what. Not necessary that you need to go and do it, or you need to probably implement it, but you probably need to know at least the headline of each, areas. So yeah, there you go.
Great point by Shri. If anybody of us wants to speak something, or we'll take some questions. We have Pratik Sukhnani still with us. We have Rajveer Singh still with us. If Jabar Paji wants to add in something, he can surely unmute his mic and talk. We have Mehak Anam with us. If they want to speak something, they can unmute their mic and ask. I feel like Arnav Goswami when I'm doing these Zoom calls. Tonight on the debate.
That's a great initiative, bro. You're really doing good thing. What I feel, we guys can go I can do this whole day long, because this filmmaking process is so big. It's so big. You can't end up talking. I mean, I'll make one point, other person make another point. We keep on adding to it. You can't.
And we learn from
this
each other.
conversation.
We learn from each other. We end up learning from each other.
Keep adding. And again, it just goes to a place where everybody has a different perspective. Everybody has a different take of how to work. So they'll talk about how they want to do, how they like to do this thing, and you'll talk about how you like to do it. It's a never-ending topic in a discussion.
It's a big universe in which, like, every director vision is different. Like Anurag Kashyap is different, and Sanjay Leela Bhansali is different. So they have different cinematographers. They're different. Everybody is different. So this is a never-ending process. What I would personally say, and we guys can go on and on this, because if you really go into cinematography perspective, there are so many small things and details. If we start talking about it, you can go on 6 to 7 hours. I bet on that, because that is a very extensive things to do in filmmaking. Every department is so crucial.
Huge. As a quarantine hobby, what I've started doing is I did rewatch the entire Marvel universe, all the Marvel universe films. But as just a quarantine hobby, I'm pausing these movies while I'm watching them, and I analyze some frames. Okay. And I try to figure out how the DP has actually, thought about framing as such, and then the part of the visual effects team comes in and they do their job. For example, Infinity War, if you talk about there, I mean, it's a big step in characterizing each event in different colors. If you go through the movie, because the movie is jumping between different scenes altogether happening all across universe, there is a different I'll say color tone to each universe, or sorry, the each scene as it is happening parallelly. But there are some visual clues and some details you start to pick out once you freeze the frame and you start to analyze them. So discussing about that can be done whole day, and we'll be actually doing that. Let's schedule one session. Yeah, let's actually schedule a session for the next Tuesday or Wednesday, where we actually come down. Let's select a movie. Let's actually poll for it. Okay. Let's actually poll for it, and then we'll select a movie. We'll select a specific shot from that movie, and we'll start to analyze it. The director can see the movie from his perspective, and the cinematographer can see it from his perspective.
I think
Shri would like to add in.
I think there's a question from Mehak Anam. I think you should probably read it.
Yeah.
Sure. Rohan, go ahead.
I think I would really like to answer this. I'm actually a fresher still trying to find my way around the industry, an aspiring director looking forward to study MFA from NIFA since 3 years now, but it being shit expensive, which is true. All I want to say is thank you for bringing school to my home. Totally love the session. I'm in a phase where I don't know the right questions to ask, so I'm going to take it all in.
Mehak, just to add in, before Rohan speaks, Mehak, thank you so much for saying that. But the shit expensive thing. We totally agree to it. All of us do. All of us do. We totally agree to it. It is expensive, but I saw it as my passion and just went for it. Um, for all you guys, I'm definitely trying to bring in our mentors who were in NIFA to a session like this where we actually discuss for hours and hours about certain topics and all the questions which he or she can answer. I'm trying to do that. And Rohan, back to you.
Mehak, I'm actually going to talk a lot in detail about this in my session, which is on Thursday, 9 p.m. I think, and I can answer it to you right now, but I'll prefer doing it there together. And trust me, if you can't do the MFA, you're not losing on anything. You're not losing on anything. Don't ever let that put you down. And that is something that I would say, you know, will you achieve something after going there? Yes, I think you will get education because you're going to be in that environment for 3 years, but it's not anything to lose. If you want to be a director, you can be a director sitting at your home talking to anybody. It does not matter. It really does not matter. And I'll talk about this a lot in my session. So I think let's just wait for it. If
Yeah,
that's not that's the problem.
the individual sessions will be much more interactive because I've also told Rohan to actually prepare. Like I'm just writing it down, but Rohan, I'll suggest you to actually prepare a nice presentation where actually you can swipe through the presentation and as you talk, which is actually visually good for whosoever is listening to us. Because
Actually,
just talking, we cannot like achieve. Oscars just by talking. We have to also write down something which, as Shri was telling us, you have to visually being stimulated to actually know about something. Rohan, back to you.
correct. Mehak, actually, I know you said that you don't have the right questions, but if you have any questions in mind, if you can just shoot it on to Navneet and, he can forward it to me and I can address those questions in my session, in my presentation to you. That will be great. And again, going back to it, if you can't do it, don't stress. It's good you can't do it. It's good you'll be unique. You won't be somebody out of a film school trying to make those student films for 3 years. You'll be different. Remember that. Always remember
Rohan,
that.
read the chat. She has texted again.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you so much for being a part of it.
All right.
Yeah, just
Any ending?
and,
Any last
and
comments
yeah, just
from
want to add something.
Jabar Jung Singh? Yeah.
Yeah. So Mehak, I think so. One thing that is experiment yourself. Don't just sit. Like I was there's something else that I wanted to see. Actually, want to say. Sorry, not see. Is since we're all at home. Maybe what I would suggest is, I'm pretty sure we all have cameras. Is something that we could all create, and show each other. I think it'd be great. So like you were saying, study each frame or something, to show and discuss it. I think also what we could do is maybe create something and 30 seconds, a minute, under 2 minutes. I don't know. It's just a suggestion. I think it'd be great since we're all our creative heads here. We could give feedback to each other. Not mandatory, but I definitely want to show something that I created, and I'm working on something next week. So I took initiatives with my wife to make something each week, and
As
it's
you said
actually
that,
working out. Being in quarantine.
as you said that, I would recommend everyone to go now to Jabardast, to go now to Instagram, search for Jabardast films. Paji, is it Jabardast films or Jabardast weddings?
Oh, it's you could just search Jabardast.
Okay, just search for Jabardast. It's from his name. I saw the video that you made. It's not a short film. I'll categorize it as a short film and a video both. But it's amazing to see how much effort he actually put into just describing a chai. I actually shared it on my Instagram story too, but it's amazing. You should all go and check that out. Back to you, Japar Paji.
Yeah. So yeah, that was something that we were bored and I thought about it for a long time, and I just wanted to do it. And being in quarantine actually helped, and I think a lot of that time that we have now, like, we could use it to just to make something, create something, and it's beautiful that we can create out of nothing. We can create something, and so I'm also shooting something this coming weekend. So hopefully I have that for you guys, and I'll share the link, and we could discuss it. But for Mehak, definitely just you have your phone. I'm pretty sure. Just shoot, and that's the best thing you could do. Before going to school, there's so many resources. Go online, just shoot, shoot, shoot. You'll learn a lot more than actually just reading and listening to talking to someone. If you experience it yourself, you'll learn a lot more.
Adding,
Absolutely.
adding
Rohan is
to,
adding something.
adding to whatever he said, I completely agree. Do that and start writing. Start writing. As much as you can write, read as much as you can, write as much as you can. Even if you're writing something, getting stuck, that's not a problem. Getting stuck is part of a process. If you want to be a director tomorrow, even if you're being a director, even if you get a writer, but there's something that you need to understand about how writing happens, about how writing works, how the entire process is. So start writing anything for that matter. Just let people tell you that it's bad. Let that happen. Let people tell you whatever writing does not make sense, but just keep writing. Don't stop.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll have some ending comments. Yeah, Piyush.
Yeah, what I would, great thing, Rohan, what I would add is there's a quote in filmmaking, you have to be stupid or foolish to win this line, right? So in a room, you have to be stupid enough to ask questions because the person who sits quiet in the room is the stupid people. So what I would say, ask question any around what kind of question is like, just ask question, how to turn a camera on. It doesn't make you stupid. Not asking will definitely make you a stupid person or a foolish man. So ask question, any question you need to ask. I mean, how to write a script, how to, format anything. Just ask as much questions you can because that will give you knowledge. That's one thing you will receive because what I have experienced, I was an introvert earlier in classes. I used to have questions in my mind. I would never let it out to my professors. So you need to ask and be stupid and foolish in this line, or else if you stay quiet and introvert and don't observe anything and don't ask questions, you won't learn. Be stupid, be ask foolish question, any small question like who is the producer. So it won't make you or let you down. It will give you
Piyush,
knowledge about that.
talking about that.
It's not.
Just go through your chat right now. Go through your chat right
Hmm.
now. There's something written by Pratik Suknani. Can you read that out for me?
I've been doing photography since last 4 years and have been passionate about cinematography as well. Did a course from a local institute over here, but that did not make difference that much as I asked a question over there that was a gaffer, but the teacher weren't able to answer it. What would you all say? What should I do further indulging more in the field? What I would say is if the
I
professor is not
actually,
able to,
Piyush, sorry to interrupt
yep.
you. Just before you move ahead with this question, like what Piyush said, I don't think stupid is what he was going for the word for, but I think it's being not aware or not having the knowledge. Not having the knowledge does not make you stupid. You're just uninformed about it. When you ask questions, you're getting more informed. You're getting more knowledgeable. So that is something that stupid is not the correct word for it because I mean, I'm just saying it because people take it to their mental health nowadays and people are very sensitive to these things. So you're not stupid, you're just unaware. Just, sorry, going ahead.
So I think what I would say is if your teachers aren't able to answer you who is the gaffer, then what I would say change your teacher. If they're into a filmmaking school and they don't know who is a gaffer, and if they're not able to answer your questions, then I would say don't waste just money and you can easily take it out. Because if in a filmmaking institute you reach out to a director and ask him who's an assistant director, and if he tells I don't know, so what I would say is that is a waste of time and a waste of money for yourself. So what I
Exactly.
would
You
do
should
is
change your mentor. If
you
the
should change your
mentor,
mentor. Change your mentor on that because if he doesn't know anything, you won't gain any knowledge from him. So that is wasting your time, energy, money. So what I would say is, and a layman, just go on Google and search for it because they won't tell you only the definition, but to know more about extensive into it, you need great mentors for that.
just to add to that, I think Masterclass US is currently on a trial period of 2 months. You can definitely go check that out. Masterclass US will not work in India if you directly open it. It will show you the rates in Indian rupee. But what you can do is go through a VPN and try to go to Masterclass and just sign up for 2 months. I think it's 2 months or 3 months free for Masterclass. Other than that, lynda.com is also free till the quarantine session or the quarantine ends. And I'll be actually researching more about it, and I'll make a small post about all the resources that are available online for free, which have been paid in the past, which are available online. I'll make a short list of that, and I'll post it over here in the next session, maybe, or on my Instagram too. Let's take some ending comments from Zavi. Zavi, if you can hear us. Zavi?
Meanwhile, I'm just adding something. Mehek shared her link of her Instagram page, and I was just checking that out. I think it's amazing. I guys just
Yep.
go have a look at it. Have a look at
I
it.
have, even I was about to say it,
Yeah.
Mike. You have a
I
good
think it's amazing.
perspective towards documentary, I would say. You
Yeah,
have some good angles.
No,
on
she
it.
has. No, she has a vision. Like Mehek. So there's something that you. I don't know if you are aware of it by now, but just going through your entire page of what you've posted earlier and what you're posting now, you have found something that you're liking and something that is more appealing to you. And this is just about discovery. It just comes with practice. It comes with doing more and more. And you start realizing this is something that interests me more, and you start capturing that more. And which you might even experience when you're exporting things from your camera and you're editing things in something that you're interested in editing, something that you're not interested in editing. And so that's great, Mehek, and keep it up. Keep doing more and more.
Zavi
And
was
what I
with
would,
us. Zavi, I would love. Okay, Piyush,
okay,
go ahead, and then
yeah,
we'll ask Zavi.
just to Rohan's thing, yeah, her page is great, and I would really recommend if you join the photographer session, because they will definitely guide you some on what lenses and angles you need to focus on in terms of photography. So just join the photography session, and they will give you each and every detail of how to make a shot, how to go through rule of third. They will teach you everything on that.
Actually, you know what? Shaunak Naik was supposed to be with us today. I think
Yep.
he was connected at a moment, and then he got disconnected. I'll ask him about that. And he is a fashion photographer. Go check out his page on Instagram, and he'll be also hosting his own session coming soon. So Zavi, back to you. Zavi, if you can hear us, unmute your mic.
Yep, I I can hear you guys. Sorry, I was a little caught up at that time. But to just add a few comments to like what Meg said, especially since we've been through this and we've been through film school. One thing we can attest to, that it's not necessary to go to film school to be a filmmaker. Um, the benefit of going there, the main thing is networking. It helps with networking. And the other thing it helps you with is deadlines, and that increases your productivity because after graduating, a lot of us have ideas and scripts we want to write, but if you don't have that deadline given to you, sometimes you can procrastinate a lot. So two things that the film school helps with is networking and deadlines. But beyond that, if it is too expensive, I don't think it's necessary to go to a film school. In fact, especially in this day and age, you can find these amazing courses online, and you can just learn anything from there. You literally get the same education that you would find at a film school, minus the environment, the networking. So if you're passionate about it, you can find free courses online. You can find courses that are still relatively much cheaper than taking online courses. So do that, and don't be discouraged. Even people who go to these film schools, who graduate, a lot of times, one of my screenwriting teachers told me, like, after you graduate, don't compare yourself to others around you. Everybody has a different journey that they're supposed to be taking. You measure your success based on how satisfied, how content you are with what you are doing. So if you are passionate about something, don't look at other people and their success level. Just think about, am I doing what I love doing? Am I doing what I want to be doing? And based on that, just base your life decisions. That's all I would say.
Exactly, beautifully summed up by Zavi over here. Um, any Any other question that somebody would love to ask over the voice if they want to?
Now I have a question for you.
Sure, go ahead.
Can you somehow try getting a composer to this, a music composer or a background score artist?
Yes,
Do that.
yes, yes.
Wish is granted.
Wish
Yeah.
is granted. Definitely. A composer, a music composer. I'm definitely trying to get him.
I was
He's
because you said Infinity War and that's stuck in my head since then, because Infinity War is there like
yeah.
the moment
So
you feel it because of the background.
yeah. He's
Because of-
actually a relative of mine. He lives in UK. That will be one of the major problems we have because right now in UK, I guess it's like the middle of the night or like early day for them.
it's
So
for-
it's for what?
So the 6 hours behind us.
Are they 6 hours behind or something?
Oh, the 6
Okay,
hours.
I'll try to get him. I'll definitely try to get him. He's a big fan of Alexa, by the way. So he's big fan of Alex Silvestri, by the way. So we connect on that definitely. He's like a mamaji to me, but I don't call him a mamaji. So yeah, I'll definitely try to connect with him and get him to the session, and let's see what happens. Maybe in the next week, because as we go towards post production, as we discuss more about post production and the production itself. So
That again comes in pre-production. Something like a score for
yeah,
Joker
definitely.
in pre-production.
Will we? I think you can also include that in your session.
Yeah.
Let's also talk about pacing and the pacing of the music itself. How scratch tracks are actually made before the movie starts, before the shooting actually starts. I've seen this with Christopher Nolan doing his films, and many more, I guess. But I've seen it prominently with Christopher Nolan before he actually starts to shoot his film. He actually goes to Hans Zimmer. He talks about like how he thinks about the film. He actually talks with him like a DP. As the director does to the DP, he talks with him the same way. Piyush, you would like to add something?
Yeah, so there's a story when you mentioned Hans Zimmer. So while making Interstellar, you've heard the music of Interstellar background score. So Christopher Nolan said when he went to Hans Zimmer to make the music background score for Hans Zimmer, he just gave him a white plain page. And that's how he explained, this is my film and you have to make the music accordingly. And that's how Hans Zimmer made the music for Interstellar.
Exactly. If you want to check that out, you can actually go to YouTube and search for behind the scenes of Interstellar or Inception. By the way, Inception also, there are a lot of behind the scenes for Inception where he's actually sitting in a big, huge church and he's playing
pianos all over.
He's playing the organ actually, and he describes how the organ works and so on and so forth. So
okay, so there's a comment from Prateek that session has been so good. Thank you so much, guys. Looking for more of them.
Absolutely, Prateek. We'll be coming up with more sessions like this. Let me actually try and find out what happened with the other people. Were they able to open up the link or not? Because in the Google event we created, in the Google event that I invited all of you to, I had approximately 40, I think it's 35 or 40 people that were added to the group, added as a as I invited them. So let me actually go back and check what happened with that. Tomorrow's session is going to be with Jenna. Jenna was also one of my classmates for cinematography, but she recently did a story and a script writing course from New York itself, and she'll be happy to share her experience and how she approaches script writing now, being having done the acting program first, then the cinematography program, now the script writing and storyboard writing program. So yeah, we can maybe create a WhatsApp group and post the session link. Sure, but I'll need all of your phone numbers for that. Or I can just send a
email
invite link to everyone.
Or else just make either rather than WhatsApp group, rather than having numbers, just make a small private Facebook, Instagram group.
We all are.
Make an Instagram group and just post the link.
Let's do an Instagram group.
Yep.
Surely Cinelogy will have much more episodes to come by. I think I should just make a YouTube channel and post all these recordings over there if anyone wants to see, because people actually want to follow up what happened on the last day. Any closing comments by Piyush? Last 1 minute, I'll say.
The closing comments. I thank you so much now for having me over here. Usually I was working on something else, but I finished the meeting early and I came here. I just wanted to attend because because being a producer, learning from director's point of view is very important, and for every department, cinematography. So the questions which I had, like which camera you use, which equipment you need, those were always in my mind, because a producer don't go and talk to the DP on set, why are you using this thing? So those questions are covered from me from a producer's point of view. And I look forward to more session coming up with Rohan as well, in which definitely I will eat up his head as well, asking more questions, because sometimes director don't, syncing doesn't go with the producer, and sometimes up and down goes on with everything. So every department I would love to join, and eating up head with everyone, so that even I will learn. As I said, I ask a lot of questions. That's how I learned in my life. That's how I would like to everybody should initiate in this meeting. Ask questions, anything you have in your mind, you will learn from these sessions.
Exactly. Piyush is also going to conduct a solo session of his. He's still trying to figure out a day which he's free on, because he's having some meetings with the other productions that are happening currently in New York and US. So, any comments from Rohan? Thursday, yeah. Stay tuned for Rohan. That post will be uploaded soon. Shri, I can see you.
Yeah, snap. So you can't see me. Can you hear me?
I can't see you. I can hear you, but I
Yeah,
can't
I think
see
probably there's some issues here. But it's been a good session. Great points from Piyush and Mr. Rohan. So looking forward. Let's see how things go. We have a lot of things lined up. Hopefully, should be a good
Sure.
consumption session for everyone.
Absolutely, Shri. Absolutely. Definitely. So let's actually wrap up. Stay tuned for tomorrow's
one
session.
suggestion before we go.
Sure,
just
Jabar
a
Baji, go
very
ahead.
very small thing. I think it'd be helpful when we join and enter our name, to have our title next to our name, just so we have we know who's who and who does what. Just a suggestion.
Sure, definitely add in your professional title. Piyush Thakur, producer. Navneet Singh, grip. Rohan Khanna, director. So I think that's all for today. Let's conclude this session. Thanks a lot to everyone. Vivian has unmuted his mic. Vivian.
It keeps on coming.
Vivian.
From India. There's some technical error from his end, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yep. All right then. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Piyush. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you, Sri. Thank you, Zavi, for speaking in. Thank you, Jabar Baji, for also pitching in. Thanks to Vivian. If I don't know what's happening with his phone or something like that. I don't know what's happening. Thanks a lot to everyone for joining in. Stay tuned for the next one. I'll be sending you all the same Google invite, the Google Calendar invite, because it helps you. It gives you a ping on your phone 30 minutes before and when the session actually starts up. So thank you so much for joining in, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, guys, take care.
कल आ रहे हैं सब.
आ जाएंगे पंजाबी च गल करनी है फिर.
हाँ ठीक है. Jenna will be talking in Punjabi.
Okay, done. That's good for me then.
All right then. Have a good
see
night,
you guys.
and have a good day, Piyush. Have a good day, Zavi.
You too.
And
Take
good
care,
night
guys.
to everyone else. Have a good day, Jabbar Paji. Have a good day.
See you guys.
And
Thank
good
you.
night to everyone
Take care,
else.
guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Good seeing you guys. Thank you.